Good afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Joshua. I'm going to be your presenter today. We're here to talk about donations and accounting Vanco troubleshooting troubleshooting and audit tips here. As we talk about, so let's talk about the donations Vanco troubleshooting audit tips. It's the very first one, and it talks about donations. The first thing that's really, and we put this at the top of both of these documents, is because in version 23, the really important thing is to understand that Vanco has two different types of transactions that they deal with. Those ACH or EFT transactions, and then merchant services or credit card transactions. And in version 23 of Church Windows, you do have the ability to have the software, Church Windows software, assign the batch codes of either credit card or EFT or ACH transactions to that. And where we do that when we go into donations is special functions, settings, and then right down here in the bottom center, you'll see use batch codes for credit and EFT payment methods, Vanco import download options. So if we do those, or we check those and choose the appropriate batch codes for those, Church Windows will assign them to those per what they get from the Vanco system, okay? So this is particularly important if you're really, really wanting to ensure that Church Windows, if we don't assign these batch codes, Church Windows just posts it in as a batch, okay? It doesn't tell you where it comes from. It could be a regular offering with cash and check, okay? So we strongly recommend that if you're using version 23, that you use these batch codes as they are to assign the software, because it'll make your trying to be able to troubleshoot the issues when dealing with those Vanco reports much easier if you use these batch codes, really. And that's why we put it at the top of both of these documents, okay? And it does talk about so basically it says under the note, if you're not using batch codes for your Vanco donations, basically Church Windows doesn't, importing them just puts them into just creates them as though it's a regular batch. And we're going to see a different place in donations here where that's going to show up. But obtain a copy of the Vanco monthly activity report with detail and question. We're not going to talk about that today, but that's what we're going to talk about on the next webinar event that we're going to set up for this. So basically on the first page, how to verify Vanco batches are imported properly into donations correctly. Folks, you've got a lot of options for this, okay? So the first one talks about going to browse donations. So we can either go to browse donations here in the bottom center, or we can go to donations and browse in the upper left. And it opens the same window. This is our batch of this is our posted donations, okay, by date. So we're going to go right here to the button that says change dates, filter and sort. Here we can choose, like where it says batch code. See, I can choose EFT or credit card if I wish, okay? So if we choose one of those, and right up here I can say put in 0501 2022, not giver number range. Josh, come on there, buddy. So right here we're going to put in 0501 through 0531. So we're going to say we're going to look at May, and then and we've chosen a batch code, but you're going to see how if we don't choose a batch code, it'll still allow us to separate those. So then we're now going to go to the tab called Group and Sort. And here we're going to click on, say, payment method. See, it's one of our fields further down the list. So there's payment method. And then below that, to the right, we're going to choose group by field 1. And then below that, donation date, and also group by field 2. And we're going to simply click OK. So we simply see now, here's how much we've received in the month of May for credit card giving from Vanco. Okay. Let's go back to change your filter and sort, and let's take out our batch code of credit card. And let's do that again. So see now, it separates them into check, which would be our regular offering, credit card, same figure, 2688.19, but then also our EFT or ACH transactions, which have come in from Vanco as well. So technically then the 2688.19 should match the same credit card giving that I have on the Vanco system for the month of May. And if I click on the plus sign next to that, notice it does break it down by date. So if I, shows donation date of 5/1, 5/2, 5/5, 5/6. So all of those in that information right here should match up exactly with what the monthly activity report or whatever the period is that you've chosen to, import your donations for. Okay. And if I even drill down even further, it actually shows the givers who have given, within, on each one of those dates and how much, as the case may be. Okay. So yeah, and again, it kind of shows down here at the very bottom. Okay, it does, admittedly, down here the total does show 3988, but that includes our 1100 of the other offering that we've received, and it would show cash here if I had it as well. But if folks, you have flexibility here. You have the ability to be able to run these reports and look at them. Sometimes if it helps you to go in and say, yep, I'm going to choose a specific batch code of credit card right here, and I'm going to click OK on that, and then here I break it down into each one of my dates, by all means do it. Okay. This is your data, your system to be able to do, to manipulate and organize in any way you wish to be able to make this simpler to use, okay, and easier to troubleshoot. The other way to look at this, again, typically easier, is if we close out of our Browse Donations window and we go right up here to Donations and across the top center to Posted Batches. We'll see the screenshot on the third page of our document there. But now if we scroll down, notice how my batch codes all appear under my posted batches here. Okay, so here I show all the credit card for May 1st, May 2nd, May 5th, same information I was looking at the Browse Donations window with, just a little different. Okay, so if I click on the plus sign next to each of these, it shows the same information. Person who gave, how much they gave, and this information is, again, lots of ways of being able to access it. Okay, so I would then want to cross-reference this information with that Vanco monthly, or I think they have two reports, I believe. It's the monthly activity, monthly Vanco activity report in detail, and the weekly monthly activity report, or weekly activity report in detail. But we'll come back to that on our other event. So that's how you can, if you go, oh, well, one of my batches in here is missing, then maybe you need to go back and import and enter that date and find out, maybe one day got missed or something, but you don't know. But this is what Church Windows only is getting what Vanco gives it. Okay. Dating issues are common, folks. That's one of the things you're going to learn, and you have to kind of roll with on this, is that something that may show up on one date may not hit your bank for another. Okay. Okay, so let's see. I'm looking at my other things here. Yeah, we're basically trying to show you different ways that you can access the information that's given from donations or imported into donations and subsequently transferred to accounting from Vanco. Ultimately, the Vanco monthly and weekly activity report in detail is what you're trying to get Church Windows to reconcile with. Okay, and we're going to see a little bit more about that here in a second. So the assumption here now is, okay, let's assume now in this case those batches are imported correctly. Okay, so donations is checking out. All right, so now we're going to then steer our focus over to the accounting portion of that. And again, if you kind of go to that second document, you're going to see the same top section is talking about using batch codes. Okay, so we're not going to go over that again because we've kind of been through that. But the first bold section there talks about how to verify Vanco batches are transferred and posted to accounting correctly. And you can do this in a couple different ways, several different ways, okay? You can do it from donations or accounting. So you can go up to here, either transfer to accounting, okay, in donations, and go right to posted transfers here, okay? Or we can minimize or close donations and jump into accounting and go right up here to transactions and transfer donations. Okay, and we're going to go right to posted transfers, and we see right there those same batch codes that we were seeing. We've got to check the box in the upper left labeled use batch code. You'll have to do that when you're transferring those into accounting. If not, those batch codes will not show up in accounting. Okay, but then you simply click on the plus sign next to each one of them, and I go, yep, there's $102.75 credited building fund, went to Huntington Bank checking, and oh, it went to Huntington Bank checking, not to my Vanco holding account. Okay, so that's a problem. So if I go to some of these other ones over here, we notice right here, credit card giving all goes to the Vanco holding account because I've got to deal with my fees. Okay, I don't want this to go into my checking account because that's the amount that's been given and posted from or imported from Vanco and posted in donations is not the amount that's being deposited into checking. Okay, so these credit card transactions must post to our Vanco holding account. All right, because we've got work to do in accounting that way. So we've got a problem here, but this is how easily you can check this. So you simply click the down arrow. Yep, Vanco Holding. Go down the list, Vanco Holding. Everything looks good. But it looks like our first transaction here on May 8th is going into our Huntington Bank checking, and that's wrong because our deposit on for May 8th is not 102.75. It's the 102.75 minus the Vanco fees. Okay, so we've got to fix that. Okay. Let's talk about other ways. Okay, so it's talking about at the top of page 2 on that document about how to correct that. So I clearly see here I've got transaction number 172. So some of you may be asking the question, well, do I have to go into donations and reverse something and repost it again? Absolutely not, okay? We've got a wonderful feature in accounting that allows us to fix this and redo this really quickly and easily. I guess it depends on the age of the transaction, folks. So if it's already in a reconciled month, maybe you won't want to do what we're going to do here, but we're going to show you how to do this anyway. And what I'm about to show you can be done with any donation transaction in accounting. So we're going to go up to transactions and browse. We're going to go right here to change year, filter, and sort. We're going to find transaction number 172. That's the transaction number on that page, that posted transfers. Here's our Vanco batch that posted to our checking account by mistake. Okay, so then I would click on any one of the lines. I'll click correct at the top. We're going to choose the button here that says change accounting accounts, reverse and retransfer. We would enter comments, posted to checking account by mistake, and click OK. It'll say, are you sure? Yes. It'll then say it's reversed. Now notice it reopens my transfer donations to accounting. I can now go right here, click the down arrow and change that to my Vanco holding account and send a new transaction into accounting. Pursuant to this, folks, if you make corrections to Vanco batches or Vanco giving transactions that need to be then transferred into accounting again, you're going to need to pay attention to this and change that to the holding account. The software will automatically go back to whatever the default account links, checking account or what have you. So pay attention to that. We click post. We now go, yep, it's debiting into the Vanco holding account. Click post again. Okay. Then it refers me back to my posted transfers window to reprint a new report if I wish. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about how, with about 3 or 4 minutes left, about how we can now verify what now has posted in accounting that way. Okay, so similar to what we had done in donations, I can go up here to transactions, browse, right up to change year, filter, and sort. We can be very specific here. So as the page on document on page 2 talks about is, well, this one's talking about the general ledger. Excuse me, let me back up a step. Back up to reports, transaction, and general ledger. So right here we can choose under single account, Vanco Holdings, say. This is just one way to do it, folks. We can do May of 2022. I could limit it to just donations, okay? Let's do that because I want to just see what it shows, okay? So we just do donation transactions only, click print, and this is going to detail all of those donation transactions that transferred in by date. So we see here, everything is mirrored exactly into the Vanco holding account that should, okay, that was there. There are other transactions which are posted to this Vanco holding account, but we're going to talk about those here in a couple of minutes, okay? So again, this checks out with what we got from donations. So this tells us exactly what we imported in from Vanco is now transferred into accounting successfully into our holding account. Okay. Option number 1. Option number 2 is that was the general ledger. I'm sorry. So the first one was the the posted transfers window. Right, so option number 3 now is to go back up to donate transactions and browse, right up to change year, filter, and sort. Here now we're up to page 3. So again, I can choose Vanco holding account. So let's type in Vanco. There's holding. I can enter my date occurred. You definitely probably want to get in the habit of, folks, of editing these date ranges down to manageable time frames, whether it's weeks or months. Folks, you determine how frequently you import the batches from Vanco. I work with some folks who do it daily. Some folks do it weekly. Some will do it monthly. Start with whatever makes you feel comfortable. If it helps to start with it weekly, then do it weekly. Then expand it to monthly when you feel more comfortable with it. Okay? So we're going to click on the Group and Sort tab, and we're going to choose Date Occurred and Group by Field 1. Click OK, and sure enough, here are all of those transactions. Okay, whoops, I meant to go Date Occurred. We can do Clear All again and just do Donations. No, sorry, getting a little click happy here. Vanco Holding, 0501, 0531, Clear All Donation Transactions. Click OK. There are all of my donations by date again. Okay. You have so much flexibility with regards to be able to determine what's posted from in Church Windows. So now if we go, okay, I'm done now, I want to see what's happened in my account. I may have a balance in my Vanco holding account that I'm unsure where that's from. How do I troubleshoot that and try to find out what's going on? What did I post incorrectly? Folks, maybe you didn't post anything correctly. Maybe it's a dating issue on the Vanco reports. Maybe you've got something that was imported from donations at the end of from Vanco at the end of one month, but it doesn't wind up posting into your checking account until the first few days of the next month. That's what I mean about dating issues. Okay, a balance in the Vanco holding account does not necessarily mean you did something wrong, but you've got to use their reports in conjunction with what's entered in Church Windows to tell you that. So if we go back to reports, transaction, and general ledger, sorry folks, this is going to go a little bit long. So we're going to go to Vanco holding again. We're going to choose May. This time I'm not going to limit any of my transactions. I want to see everything that posted there. Okay, so then we're going to go to here, and now we see all of our donations that went in. We've decided that we're going to transfer our net deposits out of the Vanco holding account into checking with whatever date best supports our bank statement. And then we've done our one journal entry at the end of the month for the fees. Like I said, I work with folks who do the fees on a per transaction or per date basis. I have folks that do it this way. Okay. But we notice that the Vanco holding account ultimately nets out to zero. That means we've put in the donations correctly, we've transferred out the net deposits, and we've posted the fees correctly. Your choice, okay? The journal entry is one fee. How this would check out for you is if you look at and again, we're going to get into this in detail on the next webinar on the Vanco report, is the monthly and the weekly activity report is, if you total up the fees or see the grand total of the fees at the bottom of their report for either merchant services and or Vanco or ACH transactions, really merchant services or credit card fees, and you total those up and that's the remaining balance in the account, just do your journal entry debiting the Vanco fees expense and crediting the Vanco holding account. Okay? However it best supports or suits you to be able to get this account and the software to be able to work the way that you want it to work. Okay? The Church Windows doesn't pigeonhole you into having to do it our way. Okay? This is your database, and you can manipulate it in any number of ways that help and support how it best supports you.